Welcome to Let's Talk Red Hill, your source for the latest updates and insights on the Navy's progress at the Red Hill Bulk Fuel Storage Facility. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you informed, addressing your concerns, and sharing progress straight from the experts leading the way.
Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk Red Hill. I'm Rear Admiral Mark Williams.
And I'm Hannah Lehman. We're excited to bring you the latest and greatest updates straight from the source of Navy Closure Task Force and our progress in closing the Red Hill Bulk Fuel Storage Facility and ongoing environmental remediation.
Today we're going to talk to you about drinking water and the Navy's monitoring and sampling program.
That's right, Mark. And there's been a lot of interest in what the Navy has been doing to continue to ensure that the drinking water is safe on the Joint Base Pearl Harbor HICM system. So can you tell me a little bit more about what the Navy is doing in regards to water sampling?
Sure, yeah, so we know that there was a high level of concern following the 2021 water crisis, and as such, we took a proactive effort in the wake of long-term monitoring in developing a way forward to again, continue to improve our consumer confidence with our water distribution system, and hence why we created what we call EDWM.
Okay, EDWM, that's a fun acronym. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it means, what it stands for?
This will probably not be the first time you have to correct me on acronyms,
okay.
So military habits die hard. So Extended Drinking Water Monitoring Program. In the EDWM, for simplicity's sake, replaced long-term monitoring, which was the regulator mandated 24-month monitoring program that was put in place when we brought the water system back online in March of 2022. And really that long-term monitoring was designed to continue to make sure that there was no residual effects, that the system had recovered, and that there was no potential other sources of contaminations and so forth.
Okay, it sounds like the Navy's doing kind of a lot of different water sampling right now, and you brought up another acronym, LTM. So can you maybe, for those who aren't aware, describe a little bit what LTM is, what the difference is between LTM and EDWM, and what that sampling is right now?
Sure, so long-term monitoring, during long-term monitoring using EPA-approved methods for sampling, we went out and sampled about 2/3 of the homes. Child development centers, schools, etc. were also sampled. And during that period, there were multiple periods of time, and it lasted for 2 years. The main difference between what happened then and what we're doing now under the voluntarily developed extended drinking water monitoring plan is one, every school and every child care development care center is tested on a monthly basis under EDWM. And now EDWM also has a wider breadth of scope of contaminants that we're looking at. And then what we're doing is we're making sure the homes and the facilities that were not covered during LTM, right, make sure that they get fully, so that over the course of this 36-month total period, every single house that will have had a water test within the past 36 months.
Wow, that's a lot of sampling, and it's great to hear that it's been a program that's ongoing and is having great success with getting kind of all the samples that we were hoping to get that perhaps we didn't capture within LTM. So I'm wondering, and I'm sure you feel this way too, I've heard just a lot about water sampling and the Navy's drinking water in the news lately. Why do you think this has been such a hot topic with everyone on the island recently? Yeah,
I mean, I think so. One, there's some misinformation, right, and some factually incorrect things that have been said that have been put out there in the information space. Part of why I think we're doing this, and part of why we're going to have more direct community engagement opportunities, so that we can shed some light on what the ground truth truly is. I mean, ultimately, all right, my family lives on this system. Every member of the task force is a consumer on this system, right? So we see the data every day. We know the water is safe. And ultimately, what we need to do collectively is we've got to find a way to get this sort of scientifically based, factual information out to the public that is easily to digest. And that's on me. We've got to take that responsibility. We've got to find avenues and channels that we can engage with folks and educate and provide truly kind of here's the facts and here's the ground truth.
Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense. And it's good to know that that's a mission of the Navy kind of moving forward, and we understand that that's a focus. I do, though, wonder then, too, and I've heard, speaking of it being in the news, a lot about lead. And I really don't know much about lead in drinking water. Can you tell me and anybody else who has questions about why lead is a hot topic and how lead maybe gets in drinking water?
Yeah, so one, right, there have been detections throughout the long-term monitoring of lead in throughout the all 7 periods throughout the 24 months. As we have EDWM, we continue to see lead detections, right, in the system. Now, to be clear, Lead is not in the chemical compound makeup of JP5. So this has nothing to do with the 2014 or the 2021 spill events at Red Hill. What it is have to do with, though, is lead was a commonly used plumbing material up until about 1986 when it was banned. And even in modern fixtures today, even though there's legislation and there's regulations out there that limit how much lead can be in these products, lead exists in them. And over time, lead will leach into the water system right inside of the home, and that source of that contamination is the plumbing material itself, is almost entirely the primary source of it, and that's why you see it, and you see these detections that people have raised as a concern.
So what I'm hearing is the Navy's done a lot to ensure our drinking water safe.
Absolutely.
That's great. I really appreciated learning a lot about lead and drinking water and the current testing the Navy has going on right now. And I think it's a discussion we can carry on to part 2. So for our audience, please tune in to part 2 of our discussion on drinking water and lead next week.
Let's talk more Red Hill next time.
Mahalo for listening to Let's Talk Red Hill. Stay tuned for our next episode, and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date. Be sure to download the mobile app by searching NCTF Red Hill in the Apple Store or Google Play.